Hey everybody, it's Quinn here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at my onboard for Super Series Round 9. It was Classico CCW. No in-person intro today because we actually have a lot to cover, no time. We're going to take a look around here at the other drivers on the grid around me, and we are going to get started. I'm going to push off with my left foot as always, but we did not get the same type of launch control advantage that we've been used to in the last few races. We just have to try to keep it clean. This is the Super Series, not the Sprint Series, so it's a little bit more competitive. We're going to take one position here into turn 2. We're going to come around the Contino curve here in 17th position, and it's looking like our kart is substantially down on top speed. This is not good. Sometimes when you race rental karts, this kind of thing happens. You get a kart that's a little bit less competitive than the other people around you, and it seems as if at the top end of the top speed of this kart that I'm in, the 2.7 kart, I just cannot compete with the other people around me. So I'm really going to have to drive defensively today if I'm going to try to pull any kind of result out of this. Coming up to the end of lap 1 here, just about, we started in 18th. We had a kind of a rough qualifying session. We were lapping about a 59.5 in practice. Our best time was a 1 minute .2 in qualifying, but then the best time we got in this kart in this race was a 101.5. So, like I said, substantially down on pace. And you can see that here, the 46 kart behind us reels right up to us on the straight here coming into lap 2. As we're going through the S's here, that 46 kart driven by Ethan Chen comes back up alongside us. We make a little bit of contact, but it looks like he got pushed a little bit by the 38 car, who's going to come on through the Contino and shove us right through at the exit of Contino. But luckily, we're able to maintain position in 17th without falling back at all. We see a big battle behind us, and the 38 car driven by Steve Fagan comes on through. He's a little bit offline, and we manage to sneak back up the inside and take 17th back into the hairpin. So now we have got a big group bunched up behind us. It's because, like I said, this kart on the straights is quite slow, so we're going to have to drive pretty defensively every time we come out onto the start-finish straight. And I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about the rest of the race now. I know that we have a long race up ahead of us. Little do I know that the entire race is going to be turned on its head right now. I'm coming out of the bypass corner and onto the straight. I look to the left and I see a man outside of his kart on the ground in pain. I'm not sure what's going on, and they immediately red flag the session. So everybody pulls in and lines up for the eventual restart. We're actually going to take a look at that accident from a better angle. This is Joey Andrews, aka the Stiglet. He was kind enough to send me this footage, but he was even closer. You can see, oh, look at this accident. I've never seen a karting accident like this, especially at a Rive and Drive. We're going to take a look at this clip again in slow motion. We can see the 21 car is one car ahead. There's an incident on track, and this kart up ahead stops on the line. This guy in the black suit hits it, and then the 49 car goes right up into the back of the 21 while he's up in the air, and it just rolls him right over the back of his seat, and he fell right out. We actually have the perspective of the 49 car driven by Dimitri here, and we can see him more clearly, and he rolls right out after that second impact. We're going to take a look at this one in slow motion. There is this first impact up ahead. He tries to avoid it, but he's unable to. He clips it, and then he gets impacted from the rear and just rolls right over the back of that. Ooh, he hits his foot quite hard there, you can see as well, and hurts himself. This is my perspective again, and I just came around, and he was laying there on the ground. Luckily, he was okay. He came away with just a few bumps and bruises, but it was pretty startling for everybody out on track. So here we're getting started again. We are going to be starting again from the top of lap 2, so that original lap 2 is not going to be counted. And this is actually going to be my first ever rolling start in a kart, so I really was trying to make sure I did a good job basing it on the sim racing rolling starts that I've done before. But I knew that my kart was down on power. I knew that we were going to see that here, so we can see the green flag is going. I get on the power, and the 2.4 driven by Joey Andrews, the Stiglet, right up ahead. By the way, again, thanks for the footage. Go check out his channel. I'll put a card up here as well as in the description. But he was pulling straight away from us here on the straight, and when we come out of Contino, we're going to take a look behind, see who's behind us. But when we come out of Contino, you can see we're already pretty much at the top speed of the kart coming out of Contino, and we can see that I fall right back. There's not a lot I can do, and I'm starting to fall out of the draft of this group up ahead. Steve Fagan in 38 comes out wide and looks like he's trying to find a way around us. He can tell that we're slow. Everyone behind me could tell that I was slow. I was just so much slower on the straights. It was really pretty bad, but we are trying to hold on to the position here. We actually restarted in 14th, so we gained a few positions through that incident. Not sure if that's really something to be proud of, but it is what it is. And then we have an overtake happening on our inside, or overtake attempt at least, 32, driven by Gilbert Perez, who happens to be Robert Perez's brother and a friend of the channel. Shout out to Gilbert Perez and Robert Perez. But we managed to hold on to the position going into the official lap 3, and that's 14th. So we're in 14th, and we are trying to hold on to that position. Right now, I'm not at all trying to catch up to this group ahead of me, because the group behind me is so much faster than I am, specifically on these 2 long straights. You can see there's Gilbert sticking his nose out. He's trying to come around. He just doesn't have the pace delta that he needs. And we make it through Silk into another hairpin. This kart that I was in actually feels really, really nice through the corners. It handled quite well, so I was able to do a good job defending once we were into the tighter section. But it was really difficult on the straight. You can see Gilbert comes out wide there into the entrance. Looked like he was going to sneak his way up the inside coming into turn 4. But he didn't. Instead, he decides to come up my inside going into bypass. Now, this is typically a pretty tricky corner to overtake, but he pulls it off. Whoa, look at that. Steve Fagan spins right out around. We make a little bit of contact, and he spins himself out on us, but we lose out on the position to Gilbert Perez. We're going to skip most of lap 4 and go right into the beginning of lap 5, where we get overtaken by Paul Wagner on the straight. Like I said, we really lose out. If they get an equal exit to me into the final corner onto the start-finish straight, there's really nothing I can do to keep them from driving around. Luckily, we've been able to hold Ethan Chen in the 46 behind us thus far, but it looks like he is really starting to get tired of hanging out back there behind me, and he's right on my bumper, so he's looking for any window he can sneak through to try to get around me up into my position in 16th. He can't quite get it done here at the hairpin, but he gets a much better exit out of the hairpin, and he's pushing me up the hill. This is a pretty bad situation for me, because if he gets up on the inside of me going up through here, just like he's trying to do, he'll push me out of the corner, but he can't get alongside me in time, and I make it into turn 4 all right. Funny, this turn is called turn 4, whether you're going clockwise or counterclockwise, but it's one of the last corners on the track in the counterclockwise layout like we are right now. But we hold 16th, coming out of bypass onto lap 6, and actually our buddy, the Stiglet, Joey Andrews, has mechanical on this lap, so we're actually going to move back up into 15th position, and we're going to be fighting on track for 15th here for a little while. Now we're on lap 6, and we just have to try to, as per usual, keep Ethan Chen behind us. We have just a few more laps of the race, but we need to try to keep him back there as long as possible. He is pushing on my bumper. I can feel him back there. Every time he comes back up to me, he touches my bumper, and I can tell he's back there looking for an overtake. He's going to come out wide, coming into the hairpin, and he's going to sneak up through my inside, but he can't quite make it stick. I have the inside corner up here into Scandy the other direction, but whoa, look at that. John Tran there in the 29 tries to just sneak one up the inside, but hits the brakes at the very last minute. I'm not sure whose fault that would have been if we made contact, but I'm really glad that he decided to back out. Now we are coming out of the turn 4, going into the bypass, and we maintain 15th for the whole of lap 6. Let's see if we can hold on to it for a few more laps. This has been definitely a hell of a defensive drive, and it's got me pretty stressed out, but it looks like Ethan Chen might have us. We're going to try to push him out to the left, so he has to go inside. He's on the inside line. We move back to the outside line right before the turn-in, and we're going to come through the S's way quicker than he does into Contino and tuck right back ahead of him. So what we did there was push him, use our kart to push him a little bit toward the inside rather than the outside of the corner entry, and that allowed us to get a much better entry and therefore a better exit out of the S's. So we lost it for a second, split second, but we're back up into 15th, and we have got Ethan Chen behind us, but you can see right there, you can see the yellow nose of that car is sticking out all the time. He is really trying to get up around. He knows that if he can get around me and stay ahead of me, by the time he gets onto a straight, he can leave me, and I'm fine. But luckily for me, John Tran decides to get up in front of Ethan Chen and bring the fight to me directly. That helps me out a lot because they both drop back coming into bypass. Now, even though I have pulled a little bit of a gap coming onto the start-finish straight, it's not going to mean a whole lot to me. As you can see, they catch me so quick. I go a little bit defensive there on the inside and keep them from coming up on my left side there. And they stay behind me going into the beginning of lap 8. But John Tran comes up alongside me and does get up around me here going into the Contino Carousel. I sneak back up alongside him, and we are drag racing here on the start, and that's not good news for me. My car is really struggling. He takes the defensive line, I go back on the line, take it nice out wide, and I'm side by side coming into the hairpin. I'm able to take a little bit of a wider line through the hairpin, and that means that I can open it up as well up here through Scandi up the hill, and I just have a better run. I'm going to put my cart up on the inside so that he can't shut me out here on the curb, and I'm going to get up ahead of him before we're back at turn 4. So as we come into bypass, again, I have track position. I'm in 15th, and I pretty much have kept it for lap 8. We've got 2 laps left of this race. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to hold on to it, but I only need to go for 2 more laps. So we're going to come up here and cross the line to begin lap 9. And right now I have a little bit of gap. I'm a little bit ahead of both Tran and Ethan Chen behind me. We're going to take a look behind. Oh, that gap is gone. John Tran is right back on my bumper through Contino, and I know it's going to be another drag race on the back straight here. We're going to turn around in just a second and take a look to see who's up behind, because John Tran sticks his nose out. He wants to come around the outside. Not really a good place to get the overtaking move done. And looks like he's going to sneak up the inside into hairpin, but he outbrakes himself a little bit, slides out wide, and Ethan Chen sneaks his way back up through in 46th. And he's got a much, much better run through Scandi than I do, and he's on my bumper through the hill. I take it all the way to defensive, and I close him all the way out on the curb here on the left side, and I try to keep it nice and clean through turn 4, and I got to stay ahead of him through the bypass. If they can get up alongside me into the bypass, I'm pretty much shot, but if I can keep track position into bypass, they usually have a hard time getting back around. But it looks like Ethan Chen has got the run. He's got the run again. He's just a little bit faster than I am. We've got the white flag. This is the last lap of the race. I go defensive and bait him to the outside there, and that keeps him behind me going through the S's. He's right behind me. He's less than a half a tenth behind. We're coming back onto this back straight for the final time, last drag race, to try to keep these guys behind me in order to make it to the end of this race without losing any more positions. I'm going to take one more look behind. You've got Ethan Chen literally touching my bumper here going into turn 4. He goes out a little bit wide. Doesn't look like he's going to go for the move. He gets pushed out a little bit there by Steve Fagan. It looked like a little bit of gain on contact to me, but it's hard to tell from this far away. Steve Fagan makes it to the head of that little group, and that means that whole triplet, group of triplets behind me falls back off of my bumper. So nobody has got the chance to overtake into the hairpin or come side by side up into bypass. And it looks like we are going to bring home definitely not my proudest result, but a very hard-fought 15th position in this race. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank everybody so much for my first 1,000 YouTube subscribers. We have 20,000 followers on TikTok now. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel, and if you like what I do, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I will see you guys next Wednesday, and we are having a stream tonight at 5:30 Pacific time. Come and say hi.